Live from my mother's basement, here's Johnny. Hooray! TNA Impact, January 5th, 2012, just went off the air. And I have to say that it ended on a very bright note, at least for me. You know, I always cheer the heels. So yes, yes, yes. Fuck Jeff Hardy. Punch that motherfucker right in the mouth. Um, as you all know, I had the privilege to go see TNA live on December 29th. And you know that TNA is taped earlier in the week, so this is just a few days afterward. And it's really nice to see where, a lot of the feuds are going and just, have them build toward the pay-per-view, which I think that they did a great job of tonight. Terrific job. Of course, this was their last show before the pay-per-view, so I guess if they didn't build for it, they would have really been assholes. A quick thought I was having all night, though, is that, as much shit as I've been giving the WWE for not building toward their pay-per-views, or at least until the last fucking minute, like, TNA for the most part, with the last few of them, I'd say with even the last three pay-per-views, they've done a really good job of having their build and driving it home, like, and not necessarily on the go-home show, but weeks prior, like announcing what matches are going to be what and developing feuds, and they're just doing that a lot better. So kudos to TNA. That's me clapping. That was off camera. It's my bad. But yeah, like, I'm enjoying the TNA product as a whole, and I'm trying not to be so critical. Um, they didn't have any debuts this week, like with It Begins or anything, but I'd say that for the casual TNA fan, if you were just tuning in, that you weren't too disappointed. That women's match was kind of terrible. I'm not gonna lie. I was disappointed, but at least I'll say this about the knockouts, and you can't disagree with this. It's just a fact, is that at least they let their fucking women's division go out there and wrestle, unlike WWE, who, just gives them like 10 seconds and then says like, all right, have some cheap finish, get them off TV, get them out. Like, their fucking entrances take longer than the matches sometimes in WWE, and it's just ridiculous. So it's nice to see that, TNA is giving their women's division a chance, even if it's not the most exciting, even if the crowd isn't as into it, even if it's not, like having Madison Rayne in there, even if there's botches and whatnot. At least they let them go through the fucking motions and put on a show. At least they let their women compete, and I think that's the main thing. So, um, when the show started off tonight, Sting was in the ring doing his usual thing, and when they set up the six-man tag for tonight, I was originally thinking, oh Jesus, this is going to be like WWE Raw, like, God, why would they do this and mimic that and just, ugh. I'm not really a big fan of multiple tag matches unless it's like a elimination style or like a Survivor Series kind of match, or unless there's some big prize on the line. Um, I like the four corners like matches a lot better than I do just a straight like 6-on-6 or 8-on-8 tag match. But I mean, this was really good because they did it really well. It started out a little bit slow, I thought at first, but it picked up toward the end with its steam. And I just jumped from like intro to main event there, but forgive me because it was the same topic and the same competitors. I really enjoy seeing James Storm every week on my television set. He's got it, and I can't wait for him to be a champion again soon. Um, Bully Ray has been impressing the fuck out of me over the last year. I think that he's untouched with his heel tactics, his ability to get himself over on the microphone and to draw heat. I don't think it can even be paralleled right now. He's doing it better than even Kurt Angle, who's, you know, arguably one of the best people for getting heat. And it was nice to see Bully Ray kind of take the attention off of himself and, give Bobby Roode the hug and like, I'll hold the title and you're the champ and there's no way, and just really, establish that he's on the same level as a lot of these older veteran guys, by being selfless and by plugging them rather than put the attention on him, which is always good. And plus, in this tag match later on, as the main event, they employed beautiful, beautiful heel tactics with the double teaming, triple teaming, sidelining the ref, distraction, stepping on fucking stepping on the competitor. Was it Jeff Hardy? I think at that point. Either that or Storm. I don't remember. But they choked him. They stepped on him. They punched him. They had Abyss in the corner forever. They were just beating the shit out of him. It was great because Abyss is like a big old fucking punching bag. You should just punch him in the face repeatedly. Um, and I know that they're not going to have him rejoin Immortal because that would be pointless to have this match. But it just sucks that Bully Ray has to go down to further Abyss. Like they've tried with Abyss so many times and nobody gives a shit. It would be nice to see Bully Ray keep, on like a winning kind of streak instead of just having to put other people over all the time. Because Bully Ray is somebody that I feel could really hold that TNA World title, take a good run before he retires. And I think that it's a shame that he and Devon didn't split up earlier on. Like, I know that being like 23, 24, what the hell is tag team champions, like the amount of times they've held the belts is cool and all, but like earlier in their prime years, I think that they really could have done a lot more with them and split them up a lot sooner. Bully Ray, he only would have been better, like 2, 3, 4 years younger, um, and he could have had title reigns. Like I don't know why they stayed a tag team for so long. Maybe they were just scared about their marketability being older guys. But fuck it. I mean, if Hogan and Flair can get in the ring and draw money, I don't see a problem with Bully Ray going in and holding the fucking title. Just me though. Whatever you guys, do you agree? I'm not making this video for my fucking health, I'm making it for you guys. So if you, have any comments about that, put them down below, please. I would love to hear back. Or even make a fucking video response. That'd be great too, right? I mean, because we hardly ever get them. Um, the the pool segment with the knockouts tonight was really cool. And I liked a lot of the backstage interviews for this whole tag team, thrown together tournament thing, whatever the hell they were calling it. Now, granted, I don't know if I would have had Joe and Magnus win per se, but I mean, it's nice that they're featuring different people, and it's nice to see Joe back on TV and not jobbing, especially to Crimson or some shit. So hopefully they can get the belts off of Matt Morgan and Crimson, and they can, continue that feud, and just perpetuate revolving more people on their programming, which is something that WWE can't seem to figure out, is that people want to see, the stars that don't get featured every week on Raw, like the Alex Rileys, the Drew McIntyres, even the Michael McGillicuddies. I watched fucking NXT online, and Alex Riley versus Michael McGillicuddy was, it wasn't like the best match I've ever seen, but it wasn't bad at all. Like these guys really are getting a lot better, and they need to be shown on Raw. They need to be able to get the pops from the live crowds, and not the fucking taped NXT shit. So, that's one thing I would change about WWE, but that's a fucking sidetrack thing. So, with the RVD and Gunner match, like, I really thought that Gunner took a big bump outside when he went on the fucking concrete like that. That sounded like it hurt real bad. I know that these guys are trained to kind of like take pain and fall correctly, but fuck, that was a big splat, man. I wouldn't want to do that shit, and I'm pretty up there on doing spots, and we used to backyard wrestle as kids. I'd fucking do anything. I'd jump off of that trampoline, do a high flying crossbody block 10 feet up in the air, didn't give a shit how I landed. I wouldn't land on the concrete like he did, man. That was brutal. Um, I don't like how Flair was banned from ringside. I thought that was dumb. The crowd goes there and they want to see these older legends, especially once they're in managerial roles. And it was the same thing that they did at the live event. They brought Flair out, trotted him out, and they they banned him from ringside like within the first couple of minutes of the match. It was really shitty. He should have been out there. Gunner needs that extra fucking star power if they're going to make anything out of him for now, because he really just is not getting over. And even though he had a really washout fucking double count out with RVD there, um, you know, I really think that could have benefited from Flair interaction, because RVD is an established kind of star, and Gunner just really wasn't getting a good crowd response. So having Flair out there would have actually helped this segment, I think, even if it was, bullshit interference. It's understandable because Flair's a heel, and that's just the kind of type of manager that he is, just do it. I don't know why they're so afraid. Um, Maybe they're testing the fucking water. I don't know. But maybe they're trying to see how Gunner does without having Flair, around all the time. I don't know. But personally, I would have loved to have seen him out there. So, whatever. With the whole Kazarian turning on AJ Styles thing, I don't know how I feel about this. I'm glad that Joe and Magnus won the match, although I think if they were going to do the AJ and Kazarian split, which to me doesn't make sense, because why would you have Christopher Daniels involved in this story? They already did the Daniels and AJ bullshit. They've done it for months and months and months in 2011. Why continue it? Why does Kazarian need to get involved in this shit? Why can't they just have separate feuds for these guys, Just my thoughts. I think that, honestly, Kazarian and AJ Styles should have won that match and gone to face Crimson and Matt Morgan for the belts. Maybe because Morgan and Crimson are two bigger guys that don't really move around as well, they picked Joe and they picked Magnus because they're bigger guys, and maybe the pacing would be a little bit better. But I think that when you have, smaller guys that can move around the way that a Styles and a Kazarian do, that it really compensates for the fact that the match is, not slow or whatever. So that would be cool. I don't know, whatever. They could have had this blow off in a month or two, because they want to take the titles off of Morgan and Crimson anyway. They could have blown up that tag team, and then later on down the road they could have slowly done this swerve with Kazarian, with Christopher Daniels in his fucking ear or whatever. But that's just me being a little bit nitpicky. So all in all, it was a good segment. I wasn't going to bitch with either team winning, to be honest, because at least they're doing tag team stuff, and I've been advocating for probably the last 4 months about how tag team wrestling really needs to make a comeback. So even when I started my fucking reviews and my own thoughts on the Night of Champions pay-per-view, that was always one of my big things, was tag team wrestling and how it needs to be important again. So that's more of the same, but I was glad that they did it. And like I said, I was really pleased with the main event. We got to see D'Lo Brown twice tonight. It was a treat. I'm a big, D'Lo Brown mark. I don't know if you guys are or not, but it's like a nostalgic trip every time I see him, and every time I see Al Snow come out. It helps to remind me of better, happier days with the product, and former European champions for WWE. You can't go wrong. You really can't, though, because I thought D'Lo Brown was such an amazing European champion, and just the whole head bobble thing. I really missed that shit. And Al Snow had the fucking gimmick where he was from a different European country every week when he was European champ. That was funny as shit. It's really nice to see those guys involved, because it's like having legends featured on your programming without actually, trotting them out there and trying to have them in a match. It signifies that you respect them enough to have them hold a place like that in your company, where they're backstage, they're doing training and booking and whatever. So that's cool. What else did I really like? There were parts of the show where the crowd seemed a lot more into it than weeks past, which is nice because it's refreshing. One of the things I would change, though, is taking Impact out of the fucking Impact zone and taking it around the fucking country or something, and pulling a WCW type thing where we were in a different city every week. It would really, really help promote their product, and I think it would really bring in some fresh air. Not only, if they really want to tape it, fine, but and taking it live would really help too. I mean, I think they're at the point now where they don't have to worry about editing as much. You know, they've been a company long enough to know how to fucking do this. When they went head to head on the Monday night, Wars Part 2, which only lasted like a week, 2 weeks, it was shit. But like, I was really excited for that because I'm a huge fan of competition, and I think that getting their name out there, getting the fucking, the tour of the country, promoting their product better, getting the advertising going would really help their cause. I don't really know if I want to grade the product this week. When I grade, I tend to be really harsh. I don't, I mean, like, a lot of people grade a lot more lenient than I do. This week I wasn't really, like, pissed about anything per se. I think that the women's match was a little bit, didn't really impress me. Um, the four, the X Division tag match was kind of weird. I didn't understand why, if Austin Aries is the champion, that, Kid Cash's music and fucking video thing in the background is playing as they're coming to the ring. That, to me, is like a slap. It's like you're trying to say that Kid Cash is the more popular one. Get the fuck out of here. Austin Aries is the champ. His music should always play. When Bobby Roode came out for his tag match, it was his music that was playing. He's the champ. That's what you fucking do. So I think that was a bit of a fucking Bush League mistake on their part. The Jesse Sorensen and Zema Ion shit. I mean, if this helps Jesse Sorensen to develop some kind of personality, great. But I was at the live event with him, and he got booed out of the fucking building, and I was one of the guys doing it because he just, like, he does not do it for me. So, I mean, like, Zema Ion, I'd rather see him, at least he seems like he has some kind of personality, he's got some cocky little attitude going on. Sorensen, he's just, are you a clean-cut, face guy? Are you a tweener? What are you doing? Like, steal your ball back and get mad because the other kid on your team was trying to get himself over? Fuck off. Like, if you're not good at it, it's not his fault. Your gimmick is pretty crappy. It's like it's Alex Riley ripoff, and you don't do anything with it. He never gets microphone time. It's a fail. I think they need to repackage him, do something else. I don't really like him. If you like him, maybe you could tell me why in the comments below. Wink! But on the whole, I was very satisfied with this week's Impact, and I am actually looking forward to this pay-per-view, and I am looking forward to doing a review of the pay-per-view, because I feel that if they can put on a good show week to week like they've been doing, that the pay-per-view can't possibly be that bad. I know that we're all still trying to recover from the years and years of Russo booking, but I think that Pritchard is actually doing a very good job. And, if you agree, get your comments below. If you don't agree, still put the comments below. If you want to make a response video, please make a response video, please. I never get response videos. I would love one. How do you feel about TNA in general? Do you think they're doing a good job? Do you think that they suck? Do you think that they're WWE light? Like, what are your thoughts? Let me know. I love TNA personally. I've always been a supporter of them because I feel that the business does need competition. And I've always felt that, the TNA roster, pound for pound, is a lot better than WWE's. I think that they have a lot more longevity out of the guys on their roster. So, those are my thoughts. That's my review. Get your shit down below. Maybe like this video for me. And peace.